everyone, my name's Helen. Welcome to the Shrimpy McGee channel. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the good things, some of the lessons, and yes, believe it or not, there are some benefits to hair loss. And I know that sounds just completely off the wall, but hear me out on this one. I've got 10 of them for you. So if you want to find out what they are, and maybe you just need a little bit of a mood boost or someone to just sort of like walk through this with you, all you gotta do is stay tuned. We're gonna talk about it now. I am honestly feeling better than usual sitting here filming this, and I think I figured out why. My husband's not here right now. He's out of the country, and I've snagged his office chair, and he's rolling in style on this thing. I usually sit on a sort of shabby chic, kind of uncomfortable wooden chair, and I actually prefer that because it helps me keep things kind of to the point. It's not super comfy, but wow, I feel like a boss CEO, or like this reminds me of back when I was in the office, but you know what? It needs something. I'll be right back. It needs a cardigan over the back. Are you even an office lady if you don't have a cardigan in the back of your chair? So here we are, you know, it is summertime, and of course that means air conditioning and cardigans in the back of your chair because they keep things glacial in most offices. Okay, where were we? Let's get started. Thing number one that hair loss teaches you, and I know you're thinking, what has it taught me? It has only brought me down. I've been through this. I've been here. I've been doing this for years now. This is a hair loss journey. My hair is not recovered entirely from what it used to look like before I went through all the things that I went through, but it's looking pretty good. I'm very happy with it. Got a nice trim. And the one thing that I've noticed though that has really helped me with, and it's a lesson that I've learned, is empathy. Empathy not just for just like general empathy, but empathy for other women and people who are dealing with hair loss, right? Did you have this level of empathy for hair loss before? Because if you're like me, you tell other people about your hair loss, friends, relatives, and they're either like gonna brush it off like, oh, I don't even notice your hair looks totally fine to me, or like, oh, it's not that bad, and then they tell you some story of someone's hair who was like, I guess, worse relatively to yours. You're not gonna do that anymore now, are you? I'm sure that like when a woman or a friend starts talking about your hair loss, you have a story to share with them, and you feel for them, because I know that when you're going on Instagram or maybe watching me here on this channel or reading through comments here or on other channels about hair loss, I know that you know, if you suffer from hair loss, that pit in your stomach, you know it yourself, and you know how they're feeling when they describe, you know, waking up, brushing their hair and having a ton of hair come out, taking a shower and a ton of hair comes out in the shower, and just that helpless feeling. You know it now. So I'm sure that it has increased your empathy, maybe for everyone in the world, but I know specifically it's helped you in the realm of feeling for other women in the same boat as us, right? And so for that reason, I actually started this channel. So it has taken me down a really interesting road, one that I am happy to keep going on, and thank you for joining me here on it. So let's move on to number two. The second lesson, and the number one top tip, I actually made a short here because for some reason YouTube's encouraging us now to make shorts, which are like, they're trying to like compete with, I guess, Reels on Instagram and of course TikTok, where people spend so much of their time, but they ask us to, they encourage us to make little shorts. So I made one about my number one top tip about hair loss. When people ask for my help about hair loss, one tip that I give them always, and I think might be helpful for you, is that you have to have patience. No matter what you try, medicine, not medicine, it takes a long time, and you need to be patient with the process. But this is also a lesson, so you can flip it around the other way too, and that is patience. You need so much patience when you're dealing with hair regrowth. If you take medicine and you go the Rogaine route like I did, or you don't go the Rogaine route and you do all the other kind of stuff that you can do, PRP, or maybe you're just trying to go the homeopathic route, which is not my way, but it might be yours. No matter what, you're gonna need to pack your patience. That's the number one key attribute, and patience is just, it's such an important lesson in life, isn't it? Like, I'm like all of you, we are now acculturated to getting things right away. You want a pair of pants, you order them, and if they're not there in 5 days, you're like, where did the pants go, right? So of course it stands to reason, and then people won't even watch like a 20-minute YouTube video, they want it in 15 seconds, as evidenced by, you know, the growth of TikTok and stuff like that. So it's no surprise that people just don't have patience anymore. Hair growth doesn't care about your timeline, okay? It doesn't care about what you want. Your hair is gonna grow how it grows, and if it's slow growing like mine, then heaven help you, you will be on this journey for years. It just is not really a quick fix. If you want a quick fix, then you're definitely gonna wanna do the sort of helper hair, fake hair, hair toppers, extensions. You're gonna need to go that route because hair grows slowly. It grows at like what? Maximum an inch a month. That's not very much, and even for baby hairs, you need time. If you do use Rogaine, you need months often to see any results. If you do most other treatments, hair grows slow. Patience is a really amazing lesson. If you're a parent, you know that patience, you need to have patience from day one, you know? Like, learn how to be happy in that waiting period too. And on that note, on the note of patience, I shared this short and someone left such a great comment. I don't usually stop to like read and post comments here, but this was a really good one, so let me dig it up and share it with you guys. I will say also to others reading, so that's you guys, I think it's important to try and focus on the other things in our lives that make us happy while we have to do all this waiting. Easier said than done, I know. I was so miserable for basically a year after my shedding started, and I fell out of the things that made me happy. The waiting game has made me shift focus back to my hobbies, my family, and even getting back to my skincare routine. Was too depressed to care for a while. Get back to what you love while you wait. Focusing only on hair progress will drive you to a terrible place. So true. There is just so much wisdom in this one paragraph. What do you like to do other than like focusing on your hair? Try and spend some time doing that. Even if it's just like chilling and like consuming content, that's cool too. But maybe you're into knitting or like cooking, or like maybe you just love going out with your friends. Do not let hair loss hold you back from doing the things you love. Life is short. Get out there, enjoy yourself. There are ways to cover your hair if you're super self-conscious about that. You know, there are fibers. I still use hair fibers. I am using Topic right now, even though my hair is looking pretty much good. Sometimes I don't want all that sun shining on my head, so I do use Topic, and I cover my head with a hat sometimes, and I encourage you to do the same thing. Do not stay indoors because of hair loss. Do not stop doing the things you love because of hair loss. The third lesson on my list is that you will learn how to be a better documentarian if you suffer from hair loss and you're trying to do something about it. I'm imagining you would try something, you are trying to do something about it, because that's probably how you found me here on this channel, and you've probably done some research on your own, and you've probably taken pictures or jotted down the things that are going on in terms of your hair loss. And I say kudos to you. Becoming a documentarian about your own health, about your own body, is excellent. Now, you don't want to take it to the obsessive point, but listen, when you do need to see a doctor or you need to advocate for yourself or your hair or your health, it really helps if you have some sort of record of what's been going on. If you're starting to deal with hair loss and you're just not sure where you're going to be from now, what you want to do, start it very simple. Start taking notes. It can be very simple. Put them in your phone or take pictures along the way, record things. And when you become a documentarian, that will help you in life, not just with hair loss, but further on. Like if you ever have any other, I mean, knock on wood, you don't deal with any other health issues, but most of us do at some points in our life. And if we don't deal with them, we have to help advocate as a caregiver for maybe our parents or other family members, or heaven forbid, our own kids. When you learn how to take good records and to document things, that will help you, because when you're trying to explain things and trying to memorize it all to other people, it's just so much easier when you have it down on paper or in photographs or some sort of record of it. Hair loss teaches you that. If you're trying to treat it, then, you know, and you're trying to make a record of it, it teaches you how to do that really well. It's a really, really good life skill. Now, related to being really good at documenting things, the other thing that hair loss can teach us is how to do research, right? And this is something that it taught me. I'm actually pretty good on the research front. I do a lot of research as it is as a freelance writer and lifestyle journalist. Any article or piece that I write often entails hours and hours and hours of online research, and you're probably, I mean, you're doing that right now. That's why you're watching this video. Maybe you've watched other videos here about hair loss. I suspect you probably have, and read other articles, and have hopefully looked for really good sources from actual physicians and people maybe who've recovered from hair loss who talk about it in a realistic way. You know, I know that they're clickbaity YouTube videos like, I grew all my hair back in like 3 months, and I've clicked on those too, because we're all just looking for that answer. But I know that you've taken it a little bit further, and you've probably taken it upon yourself to learn about these different things. I mean, if you're questioning about different medicines and you're going onto that medicine's actual website and then like looking for primary accounts from other people, that is all a valuable part of research. And research, again, there's so much information out there, but you are honing your skills and finding good, trustworthy sources. You know, I am just a YouTuber. I'm speaking from my own experience, but I can pretty confidently say that the more research you do, the better. When you go and see a specialist or anybody else, It helps to have an informed opinion, and that's not just for hair loss. That goes for so many different things. If someone comes to your house to, I don't know, remove a structural wall, if you've done research from maybe other people on YouTube who have done it, or actual contractors talking about the difficulties involved, or research the cost in your neighborhood, this background of learning how to research and finding really good sources will help you. It helps you in so many different ways in life. It is just a really good life lesson, learning how to do your research. The other lesson that losing our hair can teach us, whether it's just like we're dealing with thinning, a bald spot, or just maybe a little bit of loss or a lot of loss across the spectrum of hair loss, one thing that I know that you know and I know that you're getting better at is honing also that sense of skepticism, right? So many of us believe, or want so badly to believe, all the things that we hear regarding hair loss. Castor oil grew all my hair back, or like, I took these homeopathic drops and they grew all my hair back. Maybe, I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying that I know that in reading this and maybe looking at different comments and doing your research online and listening to doctors, you know, talk about it, and listening to women like me talk about their journeys, you're getting a sort of a range of opinions of what's going on out there, and you're developing your own sense of skepticism about treatments, right? You will hear about different shampoos, different like miracle products and stuff like that, and you're probably coming to the conclusion that they really don't work. And I will tell you, for the most part, nothing works very quickly anyway. If you think a shampoo can cure your hair loss, then do you think George Costanza on Seinfeld would have existed? He would have just used shampoo, and that would have been episode 1, and that it would have been fixed, and we all would have just used shampoo, and there would never be any hair loss in the entire world, and dermatologists would not have to give people PRP injections into their scalp, and I could go on, and I won't. But you built up that healthy sense of skepticism, and that will take you very far in life, because there's just a lot of stuff out there. You just look a lot of information, and a lot of it is bad information. And so the healthier your sense of skepticism is about that, and the better your research skills are, the better off you will be in life. Skepticism is a really important life skill. And you know, as I said, work in journalism, and your healthy sense of skepticism, like when you feel like something's just a bit off and you want to dig deeper into it, really is just, it is such a good tool. And I know that you're getting better. By the minute, you're probably even listening to this and thinking, okay, I'm skeptical about some of the stuff she's saying. Cool, that's good. Super quick reminder, if you're here and enjoying this content so far, give this a like, consider subscribing. I make all kinds of hair loss content. I do a lot of product testing. I've given the product testing a short break because it kind of did a number on my hair, but I do want to point you out to 2 other videos that I've made recently. You might enjoy them. One of them is about top 10 regrets regarding your hair, so you might want to check that one out. I'll be sure to link it up. And I made another video kind of like off the beaten track of what I usually do here, and that is just a bit about my own style, how my styles change, and about a surgery that I've had that I don't really talk about here on the channel very much, but I did talk about it in this video, so I'll link those up for you guys to have a look at those if you like. And now let's get on to the rest of the video and the other lessons that you can learn from losing your hair. We are now at number 6, and number 6, the 6th lesson, is open-mindedness. If nothing else, I feel like this journey has helped me with is to have an open mind about all kinds of different things. You know, you do hear about things that work from people, and you hear about things that don't work. I was very, for instance, closed off to the idea of using a hair topper at the very beginning when I first started losing tons and tons of hair, and this is years ago now, but if you told me about hair toppers, I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to hear it. I was like, I'm not walking around in a wig. I'm not going to do that. But I came around to the idea. You know, I became more open-minded about it, and just lots of other different things. I mean, people say, you know, XYZ really works for me. And who am I to say? I'm not really here to say, no, those things 100% don't work. I mean, I'm very skeptical about shampoo working from my own experience, and just because if it were that easy, we would all do it. But people do tell me, I mean, like just the other day, someone sent me a recipe of a traditional Mexican folk remedy for hair loss, and I'm open-minded toward it. She said it really worked great for her. I'm not going to sit there and say, no, it didn't. I'm so happy for her that it did. Doesn't mean I'm going to try every single thing that I hear about out there. I personally like to think, like, if I find something that works, I'm just going to stick with that. going through this journey, documenting it here, talking about it all the time, and hearing from so many women has really helped me be more open-minded. I think not just in the hair loss realm, but just toward products and ways of thinking in general, you know, and that can only be a good thing when we open our minds to all the different things, all the different ways in the world that there can be to exist, right? There are billions of people, and this goes for so many different things. It goes for parenting. You know, I do some things with my kid that other people don't do, and I now am a little bit more open-minded, like, okay, someone else does things a little different than I do, and okay, cool. And I think that losing my hair and dealing with the horribleness of that process and just hearing from so many other women and just seeing so many different things out there has really opened my mind that my way is not the only way of doing things, and hopefully it has helped you and will teach you that lesson as well. It's a really good one. I keep leaning back in this chair. I just feel like such a boss, and it's like we should all get chairs like this and just be like, like straight up CEO vibes, right? Okay, so the next one that I want to talk about, and I think that this one is important, and that is pushing back against beauty standards. All right, what do I mean by that? When you lose your hair, maybe your hair will not look the way you think it should look, the way that you're seeing things on Instagram look, or like other YouTubers. I don't know, maybe even my hair. I don't know who you're comparing yourself with. There are a lot of different beauty standards out there right now, and there is kind of one acceptable way for hair to look right now. Honestly, a little bit like mine. We're all very much doing a sort of blunt length thing, longer hair, middle part. These are just like the norms of this year. But if you go back to the 80s, hair looks quite a bit different. I've talked about that elsewhere here. And if you go back to the 70s, hair looked quite a bit different. Not even getting into the whole different types of hair, different hairstyles, different textures. There are just so many different ways to look, and we feel like we must conform. And when you start to lose your hair, you start to look around and realize, you know what, it's okay. Some people have different haircuts because they want to, not because they're trying to be like edgy looking, but because their hair loss looks better with that particular type of haircut, even if it's not like the prevailing sexy girl haircut of the time. And I give you permission to do that. Okay, you don't need, we're not cookie cutter carbon copies of each other, and nor should we be, and nor do we have to look like what the media is serving up to us, what Instagram is serving up to us. You do you, okay? You can push back at those beauty standards, and it is okay. I also give you permission to go out in public with hair loss. It's okay. It's fine. Nobody cares that much. Nobody's judging you as much as you are judging yourself. So be kind to yourself. Accept that there are beauty standards that are put upon us, and we don't have to follow them. We really don't. We can take our own path. You know, my hair did not look like this for the longest time. It was, if I'm looking back, kind of ugly. But was it ugly, or was it just me saying like, okay, my hair doesn't look like anybody else that I know? And I think that's really what it was, and that was what was really getting to me. My hairstyle didn't look like anybody else's. And you know what? That's okay. It can still be cute, and you can still feel good in that hair. Hair loss can teach us self-acceptance, and that sort of talks about the point that I just made, and they kind of work together. But it teaches us, you know, at a certain point you kind of do have to accept it. You might not accept it right away, but eventually everybody comes to a part of their hair loss and hair recovery journey, if they do end up having hair recovery, and not everybody is the same, and I'm not here to say everybody can recover from hair loss. That's not at all the message. The message is that we're all on our own journey, and you will get to a point of acceptance eventually. You might not get there today, but you will come to a point of self-acceptance, and you will figure things out at some point. And that goes back to patience and all these other messages, but self-acceptance is so important. Now that I'm well into my 40s, I'm in my mid 40s, I accept myself so much better for so many different reasons than I did in my 20s, and hair loss helped to accelerate that process and that self-acceptance for me. And my hair grew back since then, but I had come to accept it at a certain point, and you will too. Self-acceptance is a gift that we can give ourselves. Hair loss helps us to get there. Okay, lesson number 9, and we're getting toward the end here. There's just one more after this one, and that is, and this is one that I have just noticed. I've never seen anybody else talk about this, but I think that hair loss helps us to learn how to use social media well. At a certain point, you might dive into like hair loss forums, and that might be helpful to you, but then you might come to another point where you decide that you just can't anymore with other people's stuff, and that's fine. That's all part of learning our boundaries on social media, and they are so important. Remember that Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those, here YouTube, this is all about the attention economy, and thank you for giving me your attention on that note, but it is very much about the attention economy, and we teach ourselves what not to give attention to and what to give attention to. So I think that when you're dealing with hair loss and you're looking up other people's journeys and you're doing your research online and you're looking on Instagram for people who've dealt with things that are similar to you, those are all valuable tools, and learning how to spend our time better on social media, and also maybe like shutting out the noise and the negative things and the negative parts that you just cannot take on. That is such a valuable message, because I know that we all feel like we waste time on social media, but I think that when you're dealing with hair loss, you learn how to finally hone what you want to spend your time on and what makes you feel good, and you pretty quickly on discover that, no, I don't like that, no, that makes me feel bad, I just feel worse and I'm not looking at that. And that is a really valuable skill that now that social media is so embedded in our lives, one that you can use every day for just about anything. Learning how to be selective about what we're looking at social media and how to spend our time on social media is a gift. Sounds a little nutty, but that's the gift that the hair loss journey can give us. And the last thing, the last lesson, the last benefit here is that you are more than your hair. And you may have seen this on my Instagram before, or just other people and women and men say it. And it is so true. Hair is a very valuable part of us. It's an essential part of our silhouette. So if you're someone who always had long hair, when you think about yourself, you're someone who always has long hair. If you've always had a pixie in your mind, you're just someone who walks around with a pixie cut. It is integral to how we see ourselves. But we are more than that. We are a body, we are a soul, we give, we receive, we walk through the world with other people, and we persist. If nothing else, everything can go wrong with your hair, and yet you will still be here. You will still be here tomorrow. You will keep going. You are you, and you are special, and hair loss does not take that away from you at all. And on that note, it is okay to be vain about your hair. It is okay to be sad, to be upset, to cry, to do all those things. But you are more than your hair. You really are. And let me tell you, as someone who's gone through it all, basically, I had no hair at one point, right? It is a painful experience, but if and when you come through to the other side, no matter what that looks like for you, and it looks different for different people, like I said, not everybody recovers, but we all find our way. You will get there. I'm telling you, this is something that you're going through, but it is not your identity. So you are you, and I value you, and I especially value you for watching all of this. We got through it together, everybody. So I hope that gave you a little lift in your day, gave you maybe some more perspective. It's not all bad news. I know that, it just feels so distressing, and it's definitely distressing, but there are good things. There are good things that can come out of it too. And I just encourage you, maybe not to dwell on the negative, but just think about some of the positive things as well. You will be stronger. Okay, thanks so much for watching all of this. This was kind of a long one, huh? But I enjoyed spending my time here with you, and I thank you so much for spending your time with me. We'll see you on the next video.